to, oh, we're live. Are we live? Does that mean we're live?
Yes,
Aloha, everyone.
yes, we are. Good morning.
Uh, Hi, you guys. Welcome to another dose of positivity. We're so happy to see you today. And oh my gosh, am I excited to welcome Abela back to the show. She is an incredibly resourceful person for all of us as we age, as every one of us, no matter how old or how young you are, whether you're on the live show with us today, listening to the recording, or in one of our Facebook groups right now, tuning in. Please go, feel free. This, even though it is live, we will put the recording up, but you have the opportunity today in the live to put in any kind of ailments or things that you would like to address that Ellie can really help you with. So don't be shy. I have a couple things I'm asking her to talk to her about. One of them is going to be breast care, and also we're going to be looking at bone density and degenerative bone disease, because I have that going on right now. And so I could use some tips. So if you're looking for tips, this is not just tips, but real life-changing tools that you can implement into your life today. That would be great. And as people are coming into the show, welcome everybody who's on live. And to those of you who just joined us in the Facebook group, thank you so much for being here. And spread the word in your audience right now if there's anybody who's having any health concerns right now that like to be addressed by a professional who can really help them through some challenging times. I'm going to do, before I introduce you, Ellie, I am going to read something that's going to prepare us all for this incredibly dynamic conversation that we're going to be having. And again, I want to thank you and everybody all for being here today. This is what I'm going to be reading today. It's out of my one of my other books called Conscious Cures: Solutions to 21st Century Pandemics. And when we're talking about biohacking and new German medicine, or German new medicine, yes, we are on the cutting edge right here of awakening and to ways to control our health and healthcare. And we've got Robin Richardson coming in the house. Aloha, welcome, Robin. So here we go. I'm going to just read this real quick to set the tone of the conversation. And this is out of a chapter called Preparedness, Awakened Thoughts, and a quote by Reverend Tiffany Thomas from the United Methodist pastor. He's a United Methodist pastor. He says, people are tired of marching and people are tired of hashtag protests. People want systemic change in our healthcare and in the world. So I wrote this during the peak of COVID, and I start out with this sentence, but COVID is still happening. And with that, we know many other chronic illnesses are plaguing us all across the world that we haven't even given a name to yet. So here we go. The spread of COVID is unnerving, but by being prepared, we will endure. This means building our immunity and strengthening our communities to help prevent the spread of all diseases. Tensions run high when people are not well and struggling with the other pandemics, such as the economic, political, food and drug, fear and media conspiracy, inequality. No one was prepared for this ugly virus to domino as it had. We all must put prevention at the top of our agendas, get ready for what is coming, and get a handle on all these pandemics. But how? For far too long, the masses have been drinking the unsustainable Kool-Aid, masking the obvious problems. Most of us have taken sips of that Kool-Aid during our lives. It's not surprising that we are in this syrupy, very syrupy, artificial mess. The more knowledge we have, the better life choices we can make to fortify and shift. The situation is not our individual fault, but it is our collective responsibility. The best we can do is to be prepared and to take action. During multiple crises, we can either choose to go dark or we can head for the light, and we can learn from these circumstances. Now is an opportune time to get to know yourself better. Notice what you love to do and tune in to your purpose in life. It is also time to dig deeper for answers and ways to resurrect our existence, to live in harmony with each other and nature. It's time to ask ourselves such questions as, what can I do to improve myself, my family life, relationships, and my community? How can I take care of the precious Mother Earth, our home? How might this era, at the sacrifice of so many, bring peace and justice? Ellie, I think biohacking and New German medicine has some very, very beautiful ways to hack the systems that we are all afflicted upon this crazy world that we're in right now. And I am so excited to introduce you to everybody. And I'm going to read parts of your incredibly impressive bio right now. And again, I welcome everybody right now while I'm reading to listen, but also to put in any health concerns you might have that you would like Ellie to address, that the conventional system has failed you on. Elizabeth Abela is the biohacking pioneer of the Philippines, a virtual and anti-aging expert, a certified deep sleep teacher, and a human potential coach. She's been mentored by Dave Asprey, the founder of Biohacking, combining conventional lifestyle coaching with non-conditional holistic methods such as energy medicine and neurosomatic techniques, as well as Bulletproof signature term biohacking, which involves harnessing the body's myriad path of self-recognition and self-restoration. Her recent certification as a German new medicine consultant has given her the impetus to forge a new movement in the Philippines, where Filipino people never fear the body's function and see disease as a biological, sensible program required to make the body stronger. She opened her biohacking recovering center, which is a non-medical but a clinical grade wholeness facility offering practical approaches and ways to achieve optimum health. Without a diagnosis, without medication, without medical professionals, but only with practice and concepts that harness the biological, evolutionary, survival, and self-healing mechanisms. Before using machines, she believes in empowering everyone to take control of their own biology and teaches people free, practical techniques to boost immunity naturally. Yes. She believes practical miracles can happen every day with the right amount of belief and energy. We have seen that happen with so many people, and I am so proud that I am one of them. Elizabeth also believes in energy medicine's efficiency and bringing resolution to personal issues and the multifaceted healing that ensures. She became certified at conventional hypnosis in 2016, and that path led to the discovery of EFT, or emotional freedom techniques, or tapping. Another thing that she is working on right now is sound sleep systems, which is a biofield tuning, and NAET, which is an energy medicine practices that are powerful in transforming lingering memories of intense emotional experiences. She is also the only certified I don't know how to say this, Benio method, and yeah, a neural movement practitioner in the country. And all of these things, gosh, the list goes on. She believes in the human potential and knows that in this lifetime, we will open the age of self-doctors. where human beings master their own biology, gain sovereignty over their own health, and ultimately control their own faith. The time is now when we empower humans with the proper knowledge and help them to gain the wisdom to actualize their greatest potential, our health, which is a birthright. Ellie, thank you so much for coming back onto the show with us. And for those of you who have heard her in the past, we had such an outcry after the last show. We invited her back again, and it's been 3 months. So happy to see so many of you here today. So, just in a small general terms, Ellie, because I know a couple of things we are going to be talking about is biohacking, like say things like mammograms and things like surgery for our backs, because these are two things that I'm dealing with. And so you guys have an opportunity to put in something that you're dealing with, whether it's ulcers or cancer, and let's see if Ellie can help lead you into the right direction. But let's go into the biohacking a little, and what are some common biohacking techniques, um, and how effective are they really? I mean, because you go on the internet and you look up biohacking, and there's people who think we're whackers. So please dive right into that, Ellie. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mama Donna, for that introduction and also reading that excerpt from your book. I was like really cheering on. I think, I think that the answer that we're looking for is right here, and the way to stop the pandemic is here. Actually, we don't have to be slaves anymore to these pandemics. There and every single person, and the solution lies in every single person. The change lies all within us as individuals. I am confident that we can stop any pandemic in this lifetime from here on out with the right mindset, the right thinking, and ultimately not fearing disease. That's super important. Yeah.
Mm,
So, biohacking techniques, there are so many. When you say biohacking, um, biohacking has been around for over 10 years. And so you're already doing it, Mama Donna. Sun exposure, exposure to the negative ions of the wind, the sun, the sand. You're always outdoors, and you always give us a nice view of where you live and everything. That's biohacking. It's really coming back to our nature by coming back to nature.
mhm,
We've forgotten that because life has become so artificial now, right? We're connected in some weird artificial network that we've forgotten exactly who we are, that we are nature and we come from nature. And the beauty of German New Medicine is that we respect the biological laws of nature because we believe that the body evolved over billions of years and does not make any mistake. There's no such thing as an anomaly, there's no such thing as malignant, therefore, there's no such thing as benign, and there's no such thing as sick. Cancer is not a disease, but rather a way for the body to make you stronger or to make the organ stronger. And so when you look at that, it's like, how can nature cure cold but not cancer? Right? How can it make a mistake over billions of years? Why would it have something bad, or it's like, oops, sorry, I forgot about that, right? It
mhm,
doesn't make sense. That's because nature didn't. Nature had something in place, and it happens not just with humans, but it happens with plants, with animals. They also have their own brands of illnesses, just like we do, right? And they don't have chemotherapy, they don't they don't have all these things, but they survive. So why
mhm,
doesn't it apply to us? The reason is that, well, there's been humans are the most lucrative commodity on the planet, and we
mhm,
are so gullible and easy to fear. It's so easy to make us cower in the corner and fear our own bodies, which is exactly what happened during COVID. They made us fear a common virus, and mainstream media and all of that can sensationalize it. The way they sensationalize movies, horror movies, is the same thing that they did, and humans just eat that up. They're and we have hormones that react to it, and mainstream media, they know how to do it. They know how to activate us,
Mhm.
right? So
So
just
can I just
talk
say,
about. Yes.
so I just wanted to say, so what I hear you saying that COVID, because I feel like COVID was definitely real and that there was a
Yes.
sickness and it did kill a lot of people. But what I hear you saying is it almost a virus of fear. Like it's fear what
Yes.
spread the virus. The virus is real, but fear is what really made it even more
Yes.
real. And the fact that the virus or any illness, is how it affects, I mean, the whole social justice issue, marginalized communities, people of
Yeah.
color and so forth. So, how do you look at something like that? And I mean, so they created more fear in marginalized community in the prison systems and all of these things. It was just became your immune system just automatically got weakened. You already are more susceptible to getting sick. And so is that what you're saying? So that fear was like the flame on the gasoline.
Yes, it is. Yes. And fear is the virus. Fear is a virus.
Hmm.
For us in German New Medicine, we don't look at viruses as bad. We don't even think that they exist. Bacteria do, but viruses are there on the side, But we don't think that viruses cause any disease, and there's no such thing as infectious disease for us because the psyche triggers special biological programs that balance you out depending on the perceived distress. So it depends on the psyche.
Hmm.
All of this happens on the psyche level, right? And it's so easy to pass on fear. It's so easy to make somebody scared and somebody think that this person is breathing the same air as I do. I'm going to get it.
Hmm.
What that person did is that they gave it to themselves. So in German New Medicine, there are what we call very specific conflicts. And these conflicts are very exact. It depends on the organ that's involved, the germ layer that's involved, and also the conflict load, how distressed that person was. So a cold, you can imagine, can be a very slight distress depending if it lasts for 2 days or 2 weeks. So you can imagine that the conflict load of a 2 week cold is very heavy. A cold, just to make it simple, is a stink conflict. So what I'm saying, what I'm very much empowering you today with this information is to never ever get a cold ever in your life, ever again, with this information, because it is a biological response to a particular life situation.
Hmm.
So the next time you get a cold, look for somebody or something that annoyed you. It's a stink conflict. So, in other words, a stink conflict is I'm fed up, you stink, get away from me. Okay?
I love
More
that.
often than not, you'll be able to find something. Somebody in the subway, got my seat and she stinks, and all of a sudden you're sneezing in the office when you get in. That's a quick stink conflict. But if somebody in the office every single day gives you a stink conflict and that person leaves for vacation suddenly, you come down with a really bad cold for 2 weeks.
Mhm,
You'll see how
mhm.
that happens.
Yeah, you know
And
what's so interesting what you're saying, Ellie, is like I'm one of those people who was not vaccinated for
yes,
multiple reasons, but and I'm one of those people, knock on wood, and love and the mindset haven't even haven't gotten COVID, and I've been close to many people who have had COVID. And I feel like sometimes I say, oh, I'm so lucky, and then, but at the same time, I'm also one of those people who used to get colds for weeks on time at a time, or really sick and bronchial. uh, to get me down so I couldn't work, right? I think it was just me in response to saying, I need a break. So I'm just going to get sick and use it as an excuse. Because now I feel a cold coming on. I know just what to do. I know how to fuel myself. And I get what is called a 24-hour detox. And I look
Yeah.
at it, it's like, okay, this is okay, but I don't want to be out for that long. So I'm just so resonating with this. And I hope everybody else who's listening to that. I mean, here's Ellie saying it, and I'm like living proof of that. And right now, even with my own health issues that I'm going through, I'm biohacking right now, you know. And I think and most of you know, I went through this whole thing with a tooth infection. And I know, Robin, you're going through some teeth things too. And it's so much of, for me, when I was going through that whole mouth thing, it was just like, I couldn't smile, like, and because I was so embarrassed. But then after a while, when I started, I allowed myself to smile, and I just was real honest. Hey, the dental system let me down, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. And instead of not smiling, I used it as a trump card to say, hey, this is what and it changed it. And then I started feeling better and feeling better about myself. So
Awesome.
I just, those are just some examples. And if anybody else has any other examples, we'll love to hear. Um,
Yeah. Well,
but
Donna, you
yeah,
mentioned that you have a cold. You're nursing a cold now, right?
no,
Is that
not,
right?
not
Oh,
now.
you don't now.
No.
Okay, okay. Because I was gonna do what I do with my clients, which is don't do any supplements, don't take anything. Let's investigate the tracks. Who pissed you off?
Oh,
Right?
cool.
Because as soon as who or what pissed you off, because it could be construction noise that's
Yeah.
annoying. It could be a dog barking incessantly. That's annoying. It's like, annoying. And the reason for the stink conflict is that the body picks it up as a stink. And therefore, it affects the nose, the actual nose cells. You start to ulcerate cells because, oh, something stinks. Let's make your nose bigger so you can drain out that smell, right?
Yeah.
The body doesn't know it. It's very primal coding. And when you resolve it for whatever reason, the annoying person leaves, the dog stops barking and all of that. Okay, no more stink. The body will activate the healing phase. Okay, so we remove some cells, let's
Yeah.
put it back. And how does the body put things back? Through fluid, right? It carries nutrients through fluid, and then it carries out debris through fluid as well, aka mucus, also
Mhm.
known as a cold, right?
Mhm.
And even sneezing is removing debris and all of that. And the inflammation, swelling depends on the conflict load again. So when you find the beauty of it is that I've cured a 6 hour cold because I found out exactly what annoyed me.
Mm.
And when you work with the body and the body knows that, oh, you figured it out. Okay, all right, we're gonna make this really quick. After 6 hours, the mucus stopped running. And even if the mucus comes, you'll start to make that inquiry. Who did I allow to piss me off? Who did I allow to? Because nothing happens without your permission, right?
Yeah.
So who did you have some accountability there because you have power. You have you're self-sovereign. You have personal power. So you have the ability to choose. So when you find that out, the next time that person comes, I'm not going to allow you to piss me off, and I'm not going to get a cold anymore.
Yeah. We
And
don't
so
have.
you start to become proactive, and you start to really control your biology. You
Yeah.
you have the keys to the ignition to your body, and
Yeah.
you can tell it, I'm not going to get a cold ever again. And no, it's not vitamin C. It's not, any of that. Although, vitamin C, the sun, and being well, that's good on a general cellular level. But um, this actually empowers the poor, people who don't have money to buy meds or supplements. In the Philippines, we have a ton of people in that bracket who can't afford to buy anything. But you empower them with a mind by telling them, and imagine kids. If we empower the kids with this information, you tell them your classmate who is giving you a stink conflict, don't let him.
Yeah.
They'll never get sick. They'll never get a cold ever. So it's not about an immune system. It's about having a psyche that's immune to
Mm,
conflicts. And of
mhm,
course that's difficult because cancer are very, very deep biological conflicts. A cold is easy to control. Cancer, to a certain extent, we in German New Medicine are not afraid of it. We actually thank it. We are grateful for it. But we take it seriously because it is a serious, deep lesson that the person needs to learn in life, in their current life situation. But we're not afraid of it. And removing fear of disease or all of the functions of the body empowers you immensely, because then gone are the days where you're enslaved by the system, by the broken medical paradigm where it's a name, blame, tame, and a pill for an ill. Everything is always in a pill. that's
mhm,
that's it. That's done. We're done. And we're empowering every single person on the planet. And it doesn't matter if how much money you have in the bank. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter if you're 8 months old or 88 years old. It doesn't matter what religion you follow. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
You are human. You're born with the same DNA that is designed for you to never get sick or to never die.
Yeah, but I want to just interject here because everything you're saying philosophically, I'm totally in tune with. But I am a white privileged female who has the opportunity to be and get an adequate vitamin D, swim in the ocean every day, eat
Yes.
nutrient dense organic foods, some of which I grow in my own pure organic soil. But that isn't the case for everybody in the Philippines. I mean, we're talking a social justice issue right here. It's not happening on the Indian reservations. It's not happening in most inner cities. And frankly, it's not happening even with a lot of white privileged people who are working to climb the corporate ladder, and they're going out and having martinis at night and smoozing to get climb the ladder. So people, I do believe though, and I want to make sure you understand where I'm coming with this. People do come in with compromised immune systems right off the bat, even if they come in with this mindset like, oh, okay, I'm going to do everything that German New Medicine has to offer with my mind. But if they don't have access to nutrition or clean drinking water, what how do you help, how do you tell those people?
Yeah. The thing is, with German New Medicine, food doesn't cause anything. Food doesn't cause any bad thing. It's the psyche's perception of that food that's coming in that affects it.
Mm,
And always the 100% rule. Because you have that grandmother who's 95 who eats spam and rice and drinks beer every day who never gets sick. And then you have these health coaches that are just dropping like flies because of cardiac arrest. So where is the logic in that? And people who don't smoke get lung cancer.
mhm.
So the logic behind that is that it's the psyche of the person that perceives this particular distress.
Yeah.
If you're eating bad food and you think it's bad for you, your psyche will balance that out. Oh no, she's eating something bad. Alarm signals, right?
I'm
But
gonna
if
go
you're
get myself some ice cream right now. I'll be right back, you guys. Hold on.
right, right. I know. No, the thing is, as a biohacking coach, we're all about organic, grass-fed, grass-finished, forever. Bone broth. Don't eat McDonald's or anything processed sugar or whatever. For years, that was my narrative, and it makes sense. It does. It does make have a place. Of course, it does, but not in the old place where food causes cancer, food causes mental illness, and all of that. It's not a cause effect. So we'll just remove that word cause because it doesn't. Because you have healthy vegans who get cancer, right? So, well, you can't say that, that meat causes it or whatever. So, where it has a place is if you are working on a biological program like cancer, and you need vital energy, it just makes sense to imbibe the food and drink that has a lot of vital energy to give,
Mhm.
right? Not the food that depletes vital energy, like junk food and processed sugar. So it
Yeah.
makes sense on that level. However, I do have cancer patients who I say, if there's someone who has a birthday and there's cake and wine, go for it. Eat
Hmm.
cake, have some wine, be human. Don't feel
Enjoy.
abandoned or different because you're going through a biological program where your body wants you to learn a very deep life lesson. That doesn't make you different from everybody else. You shouldn't feel that. In fact, you're special because the body is making your organs stronger. At the end of the program, your organs are going to be stronger than everybody else.
Hmm.
Yeah, although it
Yeah.
is a typical program. So that's where I am now. And I feel it's so humane to think this way, and also um to do it according to the laws of nature.
Yeah.
There's nothing so harmonious or correct as to ride the wave of nature. All this time the medical paradigm is going against nature. We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
to let nature do its thing is, it just makes the most sense.
okay, I want to say this, and it's not contradicting or anything, but like in nature, you have a toxic leak, or you're
Oh yes.
from, or a gas leak, or pesticides and herbicides, you're killing the microbes in the soil. So it's the
Absolutely.
same thing when you're putting toxic food. Too much spam is not good for most people. Let's face it. I mean, you really, but I think having that's part of the mindset of all this biohacking is just like, because what's good for the earth is going to be good for us, right? It's going to be healthier for us. So I don't
Yes.
want everybody like me saying I'm going to go out and get myself some ice cream, but I agree with you that psychological immunity, right? And not depriving ourselves all the time. But I mean, let's face it, we don't want to feed the the corporate pandemic
Yes. We
that is
don't.
responsible for polluting the earth and packaging everything in plastics and microwavable food, because it's perpetuating dis-ease in our own bodies, and as well as depriving people all around the world from nourishment, because we're going into these countries and we're using those countries to grow these toxic foods on their soils, package it in toxic cardboards and waxed and all the stuff that we see in the grocery
Bleach.
stores. Bleach, yeah. And so, so like like when I think of biohacking, I don't just think of biohacking for my whole body. I'm thinking biohacking for a planetary shift. I mean, and
Yes.
if we educate, like you said earlier, Ellie, it's just like we got to let our children know this. It's not just good, by you do this, and we're going to see green grass. You do this, and we're going to see dead soil, and that is dirt. And we're going to live in a dirty world, right? So we need to let our children in a language that they can understand to make these healthy choices all around. And that's a
Yeah.
biohacking in itself, right? Biohacking the mindset. Right now, we have to undo and relearn the old ways, the way, like my husband always calls it, back to the future. We need to get back to the future, because that is the future before all the fossil fuels industry came in and biohacked our pallets, right? So,
Yeah.
oh, this is so rich, because when you were talking earlier, and I just have to share this because I don't know if you saw it, I was going like this a lot. There was this little gnat, and it was so fast, and it would kept landing on my nose and kept going across my. He's gone now. I biohacked it right out, and I didn't even have to kill it. In my mind, I said to this gnat, if you come around one more time, man, I'm gonna bring it out. So, but we have control too, like of something like, you
We
know,
do. We do. And then you made a really good point, Mama Donna, because there are two ways that disease kicks in. One is, of course, the psyche, right? Psyche, what I was saying, emotional, distressful experience. And two is mechanically.
mhm.
Mechanically through toxic poisoning, through food poisoning. So yes, all of these poisons, absolutely, they can cause mechanical disease. The body has to launch a program in order to remove them or to balance you to poisoning. So absolutely. the oil spills and all of that, the glyphosate and things of that nature, Chernobyl, yes,
Right.
definitely. That's
And if
another way.
people get ingest that or are exposed to that,
Yeah.
there are times when the ER, emergency room, or conventional medicine definitely has its role and its place, and not to be ignored, because crisis is like that's what it's there for. And
Yeah.
and I'm very, very thankful knowing that is my backup. It's not my go-to, it's my backup. So there's a big difference, right? So if we're going to, so tell us now, this we're talking about biohacking and German new medicine. Like, how do the two function and work together, and what is the similarities and the differences? And put the blog, and I did write a blog. I did some research on it. You guys can read that as well and get links to learn more. Um, but yeah, please tell us, and how to incorporate it. Like, what can we do today? Either
Yeah.
of both modalities.
Okay. Well, biohacking, the definition is controlling your biology so it doesn't control you. Right.
Hmm.
So it's from these people who just had it with the medical paradigm. And it's like, I'm going to control everything that happens to my health. I'm fully accountable. And I'm going to use the pathways, the self-healing pathways of my body. I'm going to harness that through by using supplements and gadgets and mindset and, all of these things. And it's very successful. We really are into anti-aging. So I'm 51, but my biological age is 30. So that's biohacking. Now the thing is, when I found German new medicine 2 years ago, it refined it even more because it really gave me control over it gave us the manual to our biology. Oh, so it's like, oh, Ellie, if you think this way, your kidney's gonna get affected. If you think this way, it's gonna go to the bones. If you think this way, it's gonna go to the teeth.
Yeah.
It gave you that exact manual. Oh my God, it's biohacking, like master's degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just gave me more power over that. I was already empowered with biohacking. I was not afraid of disease at all. I was not afraid of COVID. I never got COVID. I'm not ejected, as I'm sure you know. But when I found German new medicine, oh my gosh, the end of pandemics right here, just by teaching people the manual to the actual what causes COVID, the
Hmm.
specific conflict that causes it. And now I that's what I teach people in my communities is it's this particular conflict. So watch yourself, because when MSM starts saying, oh, the Marburg virus is now out, oh, Omicron is now out, I flood my groups with things to teach them that this watch out for this.
Hmm.
And they won't get it, they won't get anything, just
Hmm.
because the psyche is already prepared.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that happens. It really
It is.
is.
But someone that Robin is asking, and I was kind of getting alluding to that too. So like, how does, and thank you, Robin, for this. Is really good. How can a human overcome poison chemicals that you have no choice? It's in the food, and now
Yeah.
we've got MNRA and antibiotics. How can we do that through
Yeah.
biohacking? Or maybe
Well,
some of these machines, or the other modalities that you do. So I mean, it's in our system, like, and so would you just say that doesn't bother me? I've got like 4 ounces of chemicals, pesticides accumulated in my intestines. I mean, it's reality, right? Or however
yeah.
much.
Yeah, I mean, even with German new medicine, I still use machines and I still use some supplements, but very, very little. And I use supplements as supplements. If I'm deficient in something, I'll use it for that period that I'm deficient in it. And when I'm not anymore, I don't use them anymore because supplements can be expensive pee, can cause expensive pee. So poison chemicals in foods and mRNA, our bodies already are, it's a huge detox system. We already have our lymph drainage and all of that that's in charge of that. So what we need to do is just to support that. So we can take some supplements like NAC, for detoxing, mRNA and antibiotics. My go-to is for antibiotics. It's always probiotics. Is to feed back good microbiome into the body that antibiotics has killed. For the mRNA, my go-to is always homeopathy. Always the exact nosode of the mRNA.
Mm.
Inject into the body, let the body's energy signature find the mRNA and then cancel it out. So I'm not sure if you know about homeopathy. We consider that really major biohacking
Yeah,
because it's
which remedy for that?
for mRNA. So it's
Yeah.
it's something called totopathic remedy. So it's targeting the exact nosode. So nosode is the harmful substance, which would be mRNA. So what people have done in homeopathy is that they take the exact vaccine and they create a homeopathic remedy out of that and then feed it back to the person. So there is
That's
an exact.
available? That's available now?
Yeah, yeah, it should be. Yeah, in the UK and the US, all the homeopathy, like Helios and all of that, they have it. So they would call it the J&J, nosode. They would call it the Pfizer nosode, the booster, things of that nature. There's even a COVID nosode.
Is
So
there
homeopathy.
that would be so helpful, Ellie, if you would before we go off the air, like just drop a link there with the name of the specific remedies, because I've been doing homeopathy on and off for years. I haven't done many in a while, but that would probably be a good thing for all of us, especially
Yes.
just even and like how long do you do it for to get that out of your system?
Yeah.
This is a whole nother
21 days.
21 days?
21
Okay.
days. And it's so homeopathy is so cheap and you can make from one tiny vial, you can make millions out of
Yeah.
that, so you could spread it around the world. So homeopathy can also end pandemics. And in the Philippines, we have all of it. We have all of the nosos for all vaccines that are circulated here. So this is always what we tell people who are afraid because they regret taking the vax because they were forced into it. What do? We tell them just get this nosode, and it's only like what is tell what is 35 peso 350 pesos here, maybe like $10, something like
Yeah.
that. No, maybe $8, and it's a 21-day detox.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get it at TJ's, TJ, who does my video editing. She has a apothecary in the
Oh,
Philippines,
really?
and she's
Yeah.
not on the show today, but the plug for TJ. Yeah. Her home. We got to make sure
Oh,
she has all those in the apothecary. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Did I
yeah,
answer your question, Robin? Was that, yeah, about $7?
yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, and we'll
cool.
just want to get the names of the specific remedies, because it'd probably
Yeah,
be good for all of us to do.
because it'll be exactly the name of the vaccine. That's
Oh,
the top. Yeah, it'll be
really?
like J&J, it'll be Pfizer,
Hmm.
mRNA, Moderna. Yeah, it'll be that. So, but in the absence of that, the usual vaccine detox would be like Tuya, things. There are specific ones, but
Yeah,
you might as well get the exact one because that's the
and
exact signature of what you want to detox out. Yeah,
$7 and Tell's saying $7. So
seven
if
dollars.
yeah, if anybody wants to follow up with you, they can. Is there a way that people can follow up with you on the? We can put your
Yeah,
link
yeah,
in here, and if
yeah.
people have further questions about that, because right now, I really. Whoa, sorry about that. Hey, kids, those are my
Your
three
babies.
children. Sadie, sorry everybody. Yeah, they're saying yay homeopathy. I what I
I use
wanted
them on my animals. Yes, Robin. Yeah.
we don't have that much time left, and I really wanted to talk about a couple things because and how like because everybody on here except Alan and Kevin right now, and a lot of our listeners happen to be women. What do you think about uh, mammographies versus the different types of breast exams or preventative kinds of things? What do you recommend to your people?
It's the number two biggest scam. The first one is chemo. The second is mammograms.
Mm-hmm.
Huge scam. And such high radiation for what? And it feeds into the fear of breast cancer. One little tiny thing they see, oh, you might have something, let's do it again. Um, for German New Medicine, cancer has a sensible place in the health program. I can tell you what they are, what the conflicts are, so women can kind of know. But for us, if I see somebody with a tumor, or we we explore the life situation first. We don't go chemo or anything. We just let the body take care of it. But of course, it depends on the person. If the person has a very weak psyche and they're afraid of it, the lungs will also have a program. The liver can have a program, and it becomes stage 4. When it's stage 4 and there are many organs involved, we're still not afraid of it, but we need to manage the fear around it. Okay, so breast cancer is a very specific particular biological program. If it's ductal, which I think is more common than the other kind, which is glandular. If it's ductal, it's a separation conflict. So torn from my breast. So my child was torn from my breast, and it depends if you're right or left-handed. If you're right-handed and it happens on the left breast, it's a mother-child conflict. So your own mother or your own child was torn from your breast, was separated from you. Either the child passed away or the child left without you knowing. And again, it's a shock. It's not like, oh, my daughter's going to grad school for 2 years, and that not that kind of separation. It's a separation that you didn't expect. You didn't see it coming. She disappeared suddenly, or she just left for another country without telling you. Torn from my breast. So you can imagine why breast cancer is so common, because there's so many of these conflicts between mother and child, and mother and your own mother, right? On the right breast, if you're right-handed, the separation conflict refers to everybody else. But first, your father or your partner. Those are the two first. Then your siblings, then your cousins and best friends, then colleagues and all. So we have the exact manual to the body. We know exactly. So if somebody comes up to me, first thing I'll ask, are you right or left-handed? Is it on the right or left breast? Is it ductal or glandular? Then I know exactly what's going on. If they
Yeah.
tell me prostate cancer, cervical cancer, oh, I know exactly what's going on. Glandular would be a nest worry, a worry in the house, fighting that's happening in the house. So fighting with your child, or fighting with, but it's fighting that has been going on for years and years, and the breast has to balance it out. So it's a worry over your child, or worry over your father, and so on and so forth. So this is the reason breast cancer is so common, is because there's so much worry around your loved ones, right? And
Mhm.
it doesn't has nothing to do with eating too much soy or too much estrogen. It has nothing to do with all of that, because there's so many women who eat tofu and soy and don't have breast programs. Right? It's the psyche again. It's an emotional thing. So therefore, mammograms. So they're we know what the program of breast cancer is. So mammograms really, they're more harmful than they are useful.
So you get
Because
what happens if you had a mammogram, say someone listening to this had a mammogram, and they do
yeah,
have a cancer, breast cancer in their left
yes,
breast or right breast, whatever. If they're right-handed,
yeah.
left-handed, I get all that. A beautiful way to present that. But what do you recommend to somebody to, and an aggressive cancer,
Yeah.
third, fourth stage. What do you recommend?
We look at the life situation first. We find out who or what triggered the worry or the separation conflict, and then we reframe the mindset around that, because every situation is a perceived situation, right? If there are 8 people in a bus accident, only two people will be severely traumatized. The rest of the people will be totally fine, because it depends on the psyche of the person at that moment in time and how they perceived that accident. Not everybody will get traumatized. So again, we look at how did they perceive this life situation, and what can we do? Can we
Mhm.
involve, and you, more often than not, of course, it involves family. And so the family need to be on board with it. And so we try to see, can we bring the family together and reconcile what's happening? That, and of course, rest, lots of rest. Don't go plant-based, because the body needs protein. We're made up of protein and fat, so we need energy from that. We need to derive some of our energy from that. The rest of the energy we get from the grass, the forest, the wind, and all, and lots of rest. And then, of course, what I always do is I attenuate their fear over cancer, because the morphic fear field around cancer is super thick. Just the word cancer alone will already instill fear in people. And as soon as they get a diagnosis from the doctor, uh-oh, it's a death sentence. That's what they think immediately. But for us in German New Medicine, oh, it's like a bad cold, because it's a sensible program. You have a life situation that you need to balance, and the body launches a program to balance you out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a scary thing for the people who are dealing with someone who's dying and they're told that their loved one's going to be dying unless they get chemotherapy and
Yeah.
radiation treatment. So it really is a ripple effect affecting everybody in the family. And you guys, I just want to be really clear. I'm not saying that I agree with everything Ellie. This is a personal, these are personal decisions, but I wouldn't have her on here if I didn't think it was really important for all of us to consider the power of our own minds and how that we can take that responsibility for our own health and well-being, and we
Yes.
can biohack most anything. And also we have to decide on the quality of life that we want to have. You have 4-stage cancer, somebody who does, how much chemo do you want? I mean, what's the quality of life, or how you want to live your life? This is a whole nother discussion, but I just want everybody to feel comfortable with their own decisions, because you don't want to go down that rabbit hole either.
Oh,
So,
between
yeah,
mammograms and thermography, though,
yes,
thermography is it. That if you really wanted to, or you had to because work requires it, thermography would be much, much more humane to the body, to the cell.
what about ultrasound?
Yeah, ultrasound is okay. It's so much better than mammograms.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
mammograms hurt. Well, I
right.
haven't had a mammogram in years, as
Yeah.
you can imagine. And
Mhm.
I may, whatever. I don't have any kids, but we are walking around with tumors in us that just pop up and leave, pop up and go, because
Yeah,
the
yeah,
body just reacts, or just responds to our myriad distresses, and just has programs without us even knowing that they're there.
yeah.
And it's not scary. So what I really want you to take away from this podcast is to not be afraid of the word cancer.
Mhm.
Cancer is a great business model,
Yeah.
fantastic business model, really. And
Oh,
we
not
are,
a good one. Not one I like to use.
yeah, and we are the commodities, but when do we stop allowing them to make commodities out of our bodies? Is
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Now is the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. When the commodities out of our bodies. Wow. So
Yeah.
a couple things, we were running out of time, and this is what happened last time when we had to have you back on the show.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
I have one thing I want you to address, and then also someone wanted
Oh yeah.
to know, and this is a really good one because most people are dealing with this, but is our blood pressure, especially high blood pressure for people. What do you tell people how to reduce their blood pressure?
First things first, because if we start to treat it, then we might be just putting band-aids on it, and we might just be losing the, where to look. We're just beating around the bush. First things first, always with anything, is what is going on in your life. because that blood pressure will not go up without a trigger. What are
Mm-hmm.
you stressed about? What are you worried about? We always look at that and see how can we attenuate it by reframing it, or by using EFT, downgrading the conflict,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I always go there. And more often than not, when the person knows, oh yeah, it's this particular thing, that stressful thing that's happening with me, then or I teach them ways to, to attenuate or to self-regulate. And it's easy through just regular breath work, prolonging the exhale, and then 5-second inhale, 6-second exhale for like 15 minutes. That can reduce the anxiety, and then the blood pressure will also follow suit.
5-second inhale, 6-second exhale, everybody 15 minutes a day. And it's just going to be good in so many ways.
Yes.
I love that, the breath work, preferably when you're out in nature and just a place. It's where that
Yes.
meditation comes in too. What about
Yes.
food choices? And, like obviously we don't want to take medication if we don't have to, but are there homeopathic remedies that you recommend for blood pressure too?
There are some, to a certain extent. Homeopathy can also be a little bit like name, blame, tame. And so I only use homeopathy when it's dire. So I first look at psyche.
Yeah.
Yeah, and blood pressure, there could be so many things. There could be so many programs behind it. So really the best thing to do is to sit the person down and say, what is going on in your life? What
Mhm.
is worrying you? What is that's the easiest, fastest thing. And this is how I got rid of my severe back pain. I had severe back pain for 2 nights that didn't make me sleep, and it radiated down my sciatic nerve all the way down to my ankles, and I could not sleep for 2 nights. And I cured it with my mind because I figured out exactly what caused it or who caused it, and then my body just closed the program, just like that. So anything to do with bones or joints, or the neck or blood, is a self-devaluation conflict of feeling less than, or not feeling good enough. And we all have this program in us. We all have that narrative where, oh, I'm not smart enough for this. Oh, I didn't do a good job with this. That's self-devaluation. And if that happens often enough, it'll land in the body. And that narrative lands in our bones, in our
Oof.
joints. So
Oh my,
arthritis, yeah, things of that nature.
I'm
For what?
screwed, you guys.
Sorry, Donna.
I said I'm screwed, because
Oh
I'm
no.
always, but I was just diagnosed. I mean, I know but I have degenerative bone disease running throughout my
Yeah.
entire spine, not just one area. And I also have arthritis in most of all my joints. And
Yeah.
so, I'm doing what I think I can be doing, but is there any, because what you hear or what you read is it's just like it's going to happen to all of us. It's a natural aging thing eventually, but some people it might not hit them till they're 100. But there's other people it starts in their 40s and their 50s, and it's just the makeup, like you say, of your DNA could be malnourishment. It could be also this thought process. But what do you say to people as in the aging process for when they are starting to degenerate? That's such
Yeah.
a oxymoron for me, and really when I'm all about regeneration. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
happening to me. So what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So the good news is, Mama Donna, is that your body is not degenerating. It's really, your body's trying to make your bones stronger, and that's why they hurt. And you're in, actually, the pain comes in the healing phase. And the reason it hurts in the healing phase is that the periosteum, or the skin around the bone, starts to stretch. And growing pains, right? When that stretches, ouch, 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 and the same thing
Hmm.
with your joints. The thing is that it's a hanging healing. It doesn't stop because you become conflict active every day. There's a track that reminds you that, oh, I'm not good enough. And again, um, this is a narrative in every single person, right? It's just in our DNA to want to be better than someone, or to want to be good at something. And it also could be programming in our childhood by our parents. Oh, you should do this, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not thin enough, and things of that nature. And this is what, the sense of self-worth is like the number one crisis that I always help with my patients with, is am I worthy enough? Am I worthy of the best that love and life have to offer? So this is a line from one of my practices called Psyche. Mama Donna, you would just look at, reframe the situation and look at your accolades. Look at, oh, this is what I would say, look at what you've achieved so far and that you're proud of,
Mhm.
and reframe where you're at, reframe the situation. And a lot of the times, when we age or when we get older, like let's say older people would have knee problems or arthritis and all of that, it's because there's a sense of self-worth that I'm no longer fast enough, I'm no longer young enough, I
Mhm.
can't keep up with anyone anymore because I can't walk the way I used to. And so, the senior people, it lands in the bones. And so
Yeah.
they call it an aging disease, but it really is a psyche, because there are aging people or people in their 70s and 80s who look amazing and
Mhm.
who can outrun people in marathons, right? So that potential is there. It's really the psyche that the body is trying to balance around. So I
So
would
you don't.
say, yeah.
I was just saying you don't think certain people's DNA are prone to certain things like degenerative bone disease or cancer or alcoholism, just because of their makeup. I mean, certain people are more prone, but then they need to be more careful in those areas, I think.
It
But I
could. Yeah. Genetic disease in GNM is not, there's no such thing. It's only because maybe they were exposed to it in childhood and they think that they're going to get it too. You know, they were exposed to alcoholism. Their parents, one of their parents had cancer, died from it, or one of them, grandma had Alzheimer's, and they think that they will get it too.
yeah.
So, yeah, there might be, but there's no exact science that really, like for example, I have the APOE3 and APOE4 gene for Alzheimer's, but I'm far from it. I'm far from it. I'm not afraid of it either. The minute I think that, oh no, I have an APOE3 and 4 gene, I'm going to get Alzheimer's, I might just give it to myself, right?
Yeah.
But if you have that mindset and that psyche that says, I'm totally fine, I won't get it, I'm good. And
Yeah.
and by the way, Alzheimer's is a specific conflict. It's not like it just comes out of nowhere. There's a specific conflict. It's an abandonment conflict, and many older people feel abandoned because their loved ones are dying around them, and their
Yeah.
siblings are dying. They don't have parents, and they're put in homes for the aged, and they feel abandoned because their kids are not there. They have their own lives, and they just feel alone.
Yeah.
So Alzheimer's, is a humane way for the body to not let you feel alone because it lets you forget. And
Hmm.
so it's actually, I think it's beautiful, but yeah, it's beautiful, but
Exactly.
it is sad in the same way, right? So
Very
yeah,
sad.
it makes sense. It's
Mhm.
sensible.
It's sensible, and also, we are out of time, and this
Yes, we are. Oh
conversation.
my
Again,
gosh.
I want to have you back,
Sorry.
maybe not 3 months, maybe a year, because this is really great, and I wish more people were on the live, and I hope we'll spread the word so people can hear this, because there's going to be a lot of this is conflicting stuff. This is stuff that
I
people want
know.
to poo poo on and sneeze on, and at the same time, like from someone like myself, I do believe hugely in the power of the mind, and at the same time I'm grateful for the ER room and the life-saving things that Western
Yes.
medicine has provided for us. But it's
Yes.
time, like I said, in be prepared and awakened, and take the steps every single day to manifest the quality of your health. get rid of those negative mindsets and those patterns and those old scripts and stories that people have contaminated your body and mind and your soul, and move forward. I mean, why not? I mean, we have an opportunity and a choice to do that. And I still believe that food is thy medicine. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think it was Aristotle, yeah, Socrates, one of those guys. But I do believe that food is a big part of not just the medicine for our selves, but for healing the global pandemics of poverty and
Yeah.
civil and environmental unrest just by the foods that we put in our mouths. So, and
Yeah.
just eating like that can make us feel better, be more conscious, and everything we put in and on our bodies, the things that we purchase,
Absolutely.
um, makes a huge difference. And that's biohacking ourselves, knowing that each and every day you're doing something good for yourself and the planet. And here's a word I don't use often: deserve. But it's deserving of those who really are putting their best selves forward, having a purpose in life to make the world a better place. That right there is huge. Um,
Yes.
I'm really, really grateful to you for all your wisdom. I have learned so much today. My whole spine is saying, Donna, get up and move around. And this was fantastic. And I'm going to breathe in for 5 and out for 6.
Love
And
it.
just relax, bring that blood pressure in, and regulate that blood pressure, and all the great things that you've offered here today.
And you are amazing, Mama Donna, for creating this platform. You're changing the world. Tell that to your spine. You're, you are an author many, many times, and you do so much for the world. You live in a beautiful place. You attracted that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
your spine can close
yeah.
and
I needed
breathe.
to open and get some more
Oh,
stuff
right.
in the disc.
Right. Open. I mean, close the program. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
open. There you go. Perfect.
yeah. Yeah, I really, really, I just adore you. And there's a symposium coming up, and I'm going to recommend you as a speaker. So if you get a
Oh,
call
thank
from
you.
Alex Strauss, yeah, that it'd be really great. I think it would be a great addition to the program. And
Thank you.
yeah, and if you have anybody you think might enjoy being a guest, anybody who's listening to this now, anybody who puts social and environmental justice at the forefront of their endeavors. We love interviewing health practitioners, thought leaders, and change makers here on A Dose of Positivity who are out there making the world a better place. And Ellie, I want to just thank you again and again for the work that you're doing. Ellie Abela, what a beautiful name. Just the ring of that makes me feel better. So everybody go out there and have an amazing day. Next week, we have a death doula coming on who's going to be talking about life. So her name is Ruth Bodell. She's from Australia. We hope you'll all join us next week, and we will definitely have you back, Ellie. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for being here. Big love and aloha.